Hello, everybody. Today I wanted to talk about why I think the Colorado Avalanche is the most overrated team in the NHL going to the 2019 to 2020 season. So, they made a lot of good additions. They traded for Nazem Kadri. They added Andre Burakovsky. They have Makar for a full season, not just the playoffs now, and he was really good in those playoffs. And they drafted Bowen Byram, who looks like he's going to be really good too. Note they did lose some pieces too, mainly looking at Tyson Barrie, who I personally think is a really good defenseman, and Semyon Varlamov, who may not have been their starter, but was a very reliable backup. So here I have the lines for the Colorado Avalanche going into this season. I got them from Daily Faceoff, with the only change I made was I didn't have Byram in the lineup at all, so I changed around the bottom four defense a bit to add Byram in there. So their first line is expected to be Rantanen, McKinnon, Landeskog. Now that's an amazing first line. Probably the best or second best in the NHL. But the question is, does Rantanen start the season with them? Rantanen's still an RFA, and do you think that he'll be signed by then? And there are so many RFAs that are gone now that you could say, oh, well, everyone will be affected by it. Nashville doesn't have that many. Dallas, St. Louis, Chicago. Yes, Winnipeg will be affected too, so they'll be able to slip into the playoffs still if everyone holds out. And maybe Winnipeg falls out. But Rantanen missing? Does that hurt everybody? I think it does. And my second line, Joe Kadri Burakovsky. I don't want Burakovsky on my first line on any team. It's a very good second line, but on the first line, no. Third line, Nichushkin, Comfer, and Donskoi. Solid third line. Very reliable there. And your fourth line of Calvert, Wilson, and Nieto. Solid. No problems there. Their forwards look really good if Rantanen stays. If Rantanen doesn't stay, or doesn't sign in time, I should say, this forward group is screwed up. And they could very well fall off scoring-wise. Rantanen was, at the start of the season, the leading scorer for a long time until people finally caught up to him. He's a huge part of why this team is so successful. Without him, they'll definitely lose a lot. Now on defense, I have their top pairing as Girard and Johnson. Solid top two. Johnson shouldn't be top two, but they probably expect Makar to be the number two guy, spread the talent, have Johnson on a top pair. Second pairing, I have Byram and Makar, and that's where my problem is. I do not trust that these guys should be in your top four, both of them. Having one rookie in your top four is perfectly fine. The New York Rangers are doing it with Adam Fox, and I think that they'll be pretty solid this year. I do have them worse than Colorado. But Makar was very good in the playoffs. Can you trust that he carries it into a full regular season? There are many times that players go on really hot streaks at the start of their career when they want to make a good first impression with their team. Look at Brett Howden, yet again on the New York Rangers, when he first came into the lineup. He was unbelievable. Looked like he was a solid top six guy. Got hurt, took a step back. He's bottom six now, which I still love the guy, but he's not quite ready for a top six role. Bowen Byram, he's never played at a level close to the NHL. And while everybody thought he was the third best player in the draft, possibly, I, myself included, do you trust him to jump right in and be in a top four role? I'm not too sure about that. So if one of these two rookies doesn't quite pan out, or one of these top four guys get hurt, they'll probably move Zadorov into the top four, which I don't think he's quite ready for it. Oh, I don't think he's good enough for a top four role. Which he's serviceable in the top four if you need him there, and it won't be horrible for your team having him there. But it's definitely a huge step back from what you expect with Byram and Makar this season. And then Rosen is your number 6. He's not jumping into the top 4. solid number 6 guy. He's not going to help if someone gets hurt or doesn't take a step, or it takes a step back from what you expect, though. And now here's my biggest problem with this lineup: the goaltending. You got Grubauer and Francois. It's a very good tandem on the surface. Grubauer, very good for them last year, especially in the playoffs after he stole the starting job from Varlamov. And Francois, he's a rookie this year. We don't know what to expect. He's put up good numbers in his league, but we'll see what happens with him. But can you trust Grubauer, who has time and time again had shots to be a starter and then ended up losing them multiple times, notably when the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup? He was the starter going into the playoffs and didn't do anything in the games that he got to start. They put in Brendan Holtby. Holtby went on a roll, and then they won the Stanley Cup. Not because of Grubauer. I love Grubauer, and I think that he will do very well this year. But he's going to go through his inconsistencies. He's going to go through struggles. And can you trust that a rookie goalie will be able to help him with that? I don't think so. Last year he wasn't the true starter. Him and Varlamov pretty much were 50-50, just alternating throughout the year who was the starter. End of the year was Grubauer's net. I don't trust him to stay a starter for a full 82-game season. And the only problem with this is Ian Cole's hurt. He jumps in here. Yet again, I probably have him on the bottom 2. And then he would be the guy that jumps into the top 4 if someone underperforms or gets hurt. And I'm fine with Ian Cole being there. But he's hurt. He's not going to help them if it happens from the start of the season. So, really, if you look at this, everyone has them picked to be so good. But there's so many question marks with this lineup that can you trust that they'll be better than Nashville, than Dallas, than defending Stanley Cup champions St. Louis Blues, than even Winnipeg? Even though they lost a lot of power on defense, if Laine and Connor sign, Connor continues what he did last year, Laine bounces back, which is very possible. This team's now your second wild card. That's where I have them ending this season. And maybe they'll make noise in the playoffs again like they did last year, but I just don't see them being as good as everyone else says. So, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.